I mean, like, it's better than the past 2 days, but it's still cold. But nevertheless, I'm still here to bring you the good gospel. So I wanted to jump into something tonight. I don't want it to make you think or make you think it's my whole topic. That goes for YouTube, any other social media platform, to make clip this or whatever the case may be, and try to make me look like something I'm not. So automatically, just from the beginning, I want to express that nothing that I'm saying here, as y'all come in, when you see this on a rebroadcast, is particularly about anybody. It's more particularly about, to be quite honest with you, about what's right and what's wrong, you know? And I see a lot of hypocrisy. A lot of hypocrisy. I mentioned it before in other lives of mine. I mentioned it 3 or 4 times. If you guys don't know, I'm up here at Trump Tower, New York City. You know what I mean? Miss Foster donated to me, so I like to make sure she gets the advantage of getting to see things or whatever. You know, we'll do more of that. And guys, what's going on? Whoever checked in, say hi in the chat room. Make sure y'all come on in, share this live. You're going to want to hear this one. So, this is the funny thing. Whoopi Goldberg said some comments about, I don't know, I think it was back in February. I'm not specific on the date, but I think it was back in February. At that time, the comments that she said, and she thrusted, were, well, the Jewish population is not a race, and I think she was referring to they were a culture. The problem was she didn't have the words at the time, I believe, and I think it was so quick. I've had that happen to me before, where you don't, like, especially being in media or being in the music industry or being in the film industry, you have to always know how to talk to the public quickly. And sometimes your words can be transacted as something totally different than what you said. I've seen it happen millions of times over with different artists, with Puff included. You know what I mean? So this is the thing. The words that she used, she went ahead and apologized. Michael Rappaport came on his usual diatribe. I'm going to get into him at the end, Michael Rappaport, because I think it's time to cancel him. I think it's time to cancel him. I've seen the likes and the attention. I get more attention than Michael Rappaport, and he's a certified actor. I get more attention to him, and I damn near got more followers than him. And I damn sure get more likes than him. I don't like this guy because he always makes a trajected effort to any time that something like this happens. He never talks any other time, but I'm going to get more into him and my diatribe. I'm going to make this quick, so don't worry, you're not going to be here for a long time. He told Whoopi at that time she needs to apologize and pay attention to the situation. This is a seasoned actress here, Whoopi Goldberg I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just anybody. I'm not talking about, Fluffy McDaniels, the new actress. They got all these new actresses nowadays that come out in 2 minutes. When I was growing up, you knew the names of your stars, you know what I mean? Sylvester Stallone, Tom Cruise, you knew these guys. So Whoopi apologized on Stephen Colbert's show. And I applaud Stephen Colbert because the pure simple fact, and pardon me if I'm mispronouncing his name, I applaud him because he actually helped out Whoopi with the explanation. And I think he knew. And he reiterated several times, I'm not Jewish. Now, this is the thing for me. Whoopi just recently, I think it was last Friday, did an interview with I don't know what this publication is called. I've never heard of them. It's not specific. Like, I know the New York Times, I know the Chicago Times, but this was just called the Times, and it's not one that I'm familiar with. It might be in that space of NPR and stuff like that. But she did an interview with them. And in the interview, I don't know if it was typecast or whether it was audio, because I haven't been able to find it. So I can't confirm. I just get a transcript of whatever she said supposedly in the interview. But nevertheless, I sat there and I listened to what she said, and she kind of reiterated the words she said before. And so I was like, okay, Whoopi, you can't do that. You can't, that's like pulling Kanye 3.0. You know what I mean? And then something caught my attention. It was a rabbi in Israel. I told you guys. I dated an Israeli woman, not just a Jewish woman. She was half Jewish and half Turkish. All right, that's a cultural background, not her denomination as far as her religion. There's a lot of Israelis that are actually Christians. So I dated this woman for a while. She lived with me. Her name was Adi David. She's from Afula, Israel. Beautiful girl. She looked like Mary Ben Ari. When we were young, I was like, I don't know, I thought it was probably like 23 or something like that, 24. I wasn't too old. And I remember it was certain things that she told me about the Ethiopian population that's actually within Israel. and the things that come up to them as far as, and I don't know how many of you guys are laymen to what goes on, but there's a lot of oppression that goes on over there to the extremes of, you have rabbis, you have a couple other people muttering some real deeply scary words. This past weekend, before Hanukkah ended, you had Orthodox Jews burning the Israeli flag to back up my statement. Now you can look that up, it's easy to find. And these were Orthodox Jews, which many would consider the more prone out of Naski and everyone else. I'm not that familiar with it, but I say I would be more familiar with it than most people because I actually dated a woman from Israel. Now, with that being said, let me put this in perspective. This particular rabbi, he said something that really stuck to me, and he reiterated the same words that Whoopi Goldberg had said back in February, and he reiterated this past weekend. And that was that the Jewish population wasn't a race, they were a culture. And he was still firm on it. He didn't back down. He didn't say, this is a rabbi. And I've heard other rabbis as I do my searching and grabbing. Y'all know how I do. I bring it to you and I upload it to make sure you get it. Thanks for hitting that like button. What's going on, Paula Carter? What's going on? Y'all come on in, man. Make sure y'all share this. I know I went on a whim tonight, so y'all ain't know I was coming back up here, but I'm up here back at the block where I used to live at. I miss it. I don't care. But I like Connecticut better. Anyway, long story short, you guys want to see a horse? Look at that. The man that trains those horses, well, I don't know about particularly those, but I know for the New York City Police Department, is a black man, believe it or not. He trains all the horses for the mounted soldiers here in New York City. He's been in charge, I don't know how long, but a minute. So I just want to show y'all that. Anyway, long story short, this rabbi reiterated the same words that I had said, well, I didn't say, but Whoopi had said, and which I reiterated, and I'll put up the upload for you guys so you can see it for yourself and hear his own words, and you'll hear several other rabbis say the same thing. Now, I'm confused. If we're going to chastise Whoopi, now I ain't gonna front, that shit Kanye said, that was a little too much. You know what I mean? That was bold, Kanye. You messed that up on your own. But we still got you. We're gonna bring you back. We're gonna help you out. We love Kanye. But the words that he mentioned, I've heard Merv Griffin mention it. I've heard, and the things that this guy, Jerry Lewis, I guess that's what his name was. He used to do the telethon. The things he said about Joan Rivers, I was like, wow. He said that Joan Rivers embarrassed the Jewish population. Now that's his own words. That's his own statements on camera. I don't neither support or deny, So I started asking myself this, because I started seeing certain language points within, like Instagram and a few other different apps, and, vehicles or whatever that people use for social media. And I saw this reoccurring thing that was going on. Hate Kanye. Hate Trump. I'm gonna get into Trump in a minute too, because I see the setup there too. Black people and Latins cannot afford to be Democrats. I don't say that just because I'm here. I say that all the time, don't I? And the reason is because the one-time Dixiecrats, if the party's not independent, I would say switch parties and see what you can do within. There's a racist element within both of them. There's a cultural element within both of them. There's a religious, connection within all of them. You're never going to agree with everybody unless you have to. I learned that from the music industry. You're never going to agree with everybody unless you absolutely have to. And that means like we have one tactical goal and we're taking that over, and that's it. Now, if we can get everybody on the momentum of that, which I see, I'm glad that there's so many hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are now going through Harvard, Yale, male and female, in the culture right now. I was lucky. I was different. I actually started my career before college, which is pretty much unheard of most of the time. But I started in the music business and learned everything from there. And I think that was a better experience. I heard this kid the other day. He said, and I'm going to ramble on a little bit, so y'all forgive me if I ramble on a little bit, but sometimes I do that because I like to bring this all together here in a conscious form where you can understand. So let me slow this down. I want to go back to my comments about the rabbi. The rabbi, whatever he said or whatever, stuck like glue because he's in the homeland. He's in the homeland. And I trust those guys. There is a difference between American Jews and Hasidic Jews and Israeli Jews. I learned this from my ex-girlfriend. I never knew this stuff. I never knew Ethiopians lived there until she told me. I never knew that. I'll be honest about it. I never knew the Ethiopians were there. And Sudanese, a lot of them. A lot of them from war, things like that or whatever. It's the same thing up in New England where I live. You know, there was people sent up to Maine. You saw Martha's Vineyard just recently, places like that. I've been out there on Martha's Vineyard a million times with my friend Tom. So I know what I'm talking about here. And the only thing I got to say is, if it's okay for a Jewish rabbi, per se, to back up and basically reiterate the same words of Whoopi Goldberg, then why is Whoopi Goldberg chastised, but the cleric or the rabbi isn't? And I think and the reason I say that is because he represents a religious sect. You understand what I'm saying? He recognizes that who he is, he's not someone that's low on the totem pole. This is one of the aforementioned rabbis that said this. And even within the culture itself, they disagree on many things. That's why I just told you this past weekend, Orthodox Jews were actually burning the Israeli flag. Now, this is not to bring any temperament or for you to hate or anything like that. No, it's just to bring some, excuse my French, right here in front of Trump Tower, some motherfucking understanding. I need some motherfucking understanding. Why is it all right for the rabbi to say it, but it's not all right, and Whoopi Goldberg needs to apologize? I don't get that part. Now, if you notice, the same tactic is being used, and I think particularly by the Democratic Party, I got to keep it a buck. I think that a lot of people within there, because there's a lot of, listen, I do stocks, so I know how stocks are. I have to survive on my stocks sometimes, cashing out or whatever. I keep it a buck. But it's like this. Nancy Pelosi made like, I don't know how many millions of dollars it was or whatever during the pandemic and after the pandemic, if you didn't know. Her and her husband. Oh, they was invested in all kinds of shit, don't you know? Nancy Pelosi, I forgot how much she made 1 year off of stocks or whatever. And it's very hard. Listen, I do stocks, and I'm trying to tell you, it's very, very hard to hit those moments. The afternoon ain't a sure thing. A lot of people try to come in around about 145, 230, 315. That's a little popular one. Another one is like 327. Remember all these things moving forward if you invest in some stocks. Trust me, it matters. Those are the times, the best time for you to cash out was at its peak, etc., etc. I done did lives about that before. I'll do it again in a minute and teach y'all a thing or two what I know about stocks. But and I just wanted to add this in. One of the advantages I had was I actually had a guy that used to work right here in New York City on Wall Street that taught me stocks. I didn't know shit about it. He was like, "Just open up this account." I was like, "All right." And it went from there. I just put, you can do fraction shares. That's the best place to start. Now, moving on from that, I'm noticing that there's a constant attack over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it seems to be perpetrated by a lot of people within the Democratic Party. Now, I'm not saying it's everybody in the Democratic Party. No. It's never everybody in any party. It's never everybody. But there's some tactics being used to get certain people out the way. Can we say that? Is that fair? There's some tactics being used to get certain people out the way who may have previously supported one another party or currently support one of another party. Now, Puff, my ex-boss, all right, did something very unique that many other people didn't do, which was the Rock the Vote campaign. The Rock the Vote campaign made it synonymous. Like, I'll give you an example, right? If you ever watched the movie JFK, and I forgot what particular one it is, it's this line in there that sticks out to me because I spent my whole life in media, working in the music industry. It's this. He says, he's going to win. He says, how do you know? He says, he looks good on TV. He looks good on TV. Today, that's equated in the same linear fashion of explanation here, the same thing as this guy's going to win or this girl's going to win. It's always like that because of such and such factor. They look good in this clothes. They look good in this camera angle. I can't think of how many videos I've been on. Notorious, Whoa by Black Rob, which is a classic, and many other ones. You know what I mean? Y'all know this, so I ain't got to brag or nothing, but I'm just telling you guys from this point of view. The Democratic Party is pulling some wool. And they have been in the past to the people. You know, many of the people that y'all talk about, what's it called, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Y'all talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma a lot. And I respect that. But did you know that many of those people that did that in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they were under the terminology of being known as Dixiecrats? The Dixiecrats. They went even as far as to pick up literature. And they put out literature or at that time drawings. And they had, and this is not my quote, and if I insult anybody on my live, I'm sorry. They said the Democratic Party is for the white man. And the Republican Party is for the black man. And they had this caricature of, like, you know, a black gentleman maybe like right after the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed or something, you know. It was quite insulting, but I had to remember the times it was as well. But many of those people that helped in the attack of Tulsa, Oklahoma were known as Dixiecrats. They was stern. They came out of, like, really, I think maybe after Truman. And that's when they really came in and started to form tightly, where there was a lot of people that were, what you know as the KKK were involved or whatever, but there was a lot of the 13 colonies, you know, Virginias and North Carolinas, stuff like that in the Southeast. So this is how the party itself had lingered on up until the 1970s. And Joe Biden at the time was part of that. Joe Biden was part. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. I don't care what your political affiliation was. You cannot escape that, and it's unfortunate. I bring this to say this. Barry White. Y'all hear the Barry White playing? I'm bringing this to say this. In my association with the music industry, somebody asked me this question. I worked in it for 17 years under Bad Boy Entertainment. We went through 3 different distributors. Interscope, Arista, and I started out at BMG, which is Burleson Music Group. What's going on, Tanya? And so, what I do know, give me 1 second, guys, it's a loud car going by. What I do know is this. There have been a lot of people that have helped along, especially after Puff started the Rock the Vote campaign. There have been a lot of people, and I was there. You know what I'm saying? You're talking to one of the guys that was around, like before this was the idea. I was in the office. He did this when we were over at, I believe, Arista, excuse me. I think, no. He did it when we was at Atlantic. We was at Atlantic. I'm pretty sure that was the culmination of it. I had to check with somebody, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But that being said, right, it gave momentum, especially under the constituency of Barack Obama. A lot of people wonder why they don't see this guy's song anymore. This guy. Give me 1 second, guys. A lot of people wonder why they don't see Young Jeezy performing anymore. It's because Young Jeezy made a lot of money off of one song. That song was "My President is Black, My Lambo Blue." You notice after he dropped that, you never saw him again. For the most part. Now he drops an album here and there, and that's just contractual agreements. I know that. I was in the business for 17 years. The problem is, these guys make money off endorsing these different constituencies and different, political figures or whatever the case may be, even if they win or don't win. Now, I just wanted to do that to just enlighten you and bring you up to date on why I say a lot of the stuff that you're seeing right now with the Democratic Party, and I believe, honestly and truthfully, they have betrayed culture. Systematically and almost religiously, you voted for them over and over and over and over again. I stood right here in front of Trump Tower, block I used to live on. See, I'm right here. I remember when this happened too. I was up here to film this afterwards. I wanted to be here when it happened. This chick came up here. It was actually 2 people. So this dude came up here one time, and then there was a chick that came up here one time, and they put paint all over top of this. But Mayor de Blasio, the former mayor, he did this right here. And he called it sticking up for us or whatever. I wish they really would just paint over it at this point. They was still in cash and everything else. Y'all don't want to call them out for that. That's what they was doing. They was buying houses in Canada, buying houses in California, and looking at us like we were suckers. Ask them what they did with any of the money. Who did you help collectively? You know what I mean? It's unfortunate, but this is the thing. These same powers, they can be bought very easily. In the music industry, a lot of times you see a lot of the artists that come out or whatever the case may be, secret time, because they paid for it well. It costs you about $200,000 on a record spins on the radio. You know, that's what traditionally it's still called. It costs you about $200,000 on that. It's going to cost you about, I don't know, minimum of $60,000 to $70,000 nowadays, maybe for a video, or maybe some people just film it on their own. But you can't do that for so many times. People get tired of it. They want some aesthetics. All this is going entwined, but one thing that I'm saying is a lot of these artists are actually making money from supporting political figures and have been, you know? And a lot of your music artists now, with that propulsion from Young Jeezy, the money he made, the money he still makes from residuals from that single, you know, people play that song, don't you know? So I'm trying to see this time around, because we're coming up on it. We got one more year after this week. You know, this week is 2023. So we got one more year after that before we go back to re-elections. And with all these little certain things, like the reason give me one second, guys. Yeah, nobody's saying anything after the betrayal. I've been watching that, like Juru said, 99 cents. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna read his comment again because I like his comment. I just got these loud trucks. Give me 1 second. Yeah, nobody's saying anything after the betrayal. I've been watching that, like Jaru said, 99.9%. Absolutely right. I absolutely agree with that. I think a lot of these political figures that within the Democratic Party, I think what they've been fooling is, have y'all noticed this? Okay, so we know, and I'm just saying, this is just population-wise, it's the CDC numbers, women outnumber men in the population. That's just what it is. If you want to change it, go have more babies, all right? Now, and make sure you can afford it. But within our demographic, and that's the Black and Latin demographic, the women actually outnumber us again. Now, let's take it back a step, and I'm going to unpack this for you. The women actually, believe it or not, were the most at the voting poll when Biden won this last time. The women. They endorsed him. You saw every mayor, constituent, such and such, mayor from this town, you know, Hoboken, Nebraska, wherever. And they all came, and they were all specifically black females. Now, this is not a punch, this is what the reality is. And they all endorsed that you voted for him. And once he got into office, I noticed after the first year, he kind of sat back. Second year, he came in, and he said, all right, it's time to start appointing people. And it was Ketanji Brown Jackson, which I just heard something from her the other day that it sounded real snooty and I'm here-ish, you know? I might post it up for you guys or whatever. If it's your first time with me, I smoke on camera. Occasionally I curse. True I am. I don't change up for nothing. I guarantee you, you're going to end up doing business with me. Ketanji Brown Jackson, and then I think it was a host of other women at the time that were all in trajectory of grabbing that Supreme Court seat, right? And if you look at the numbers, it was really some other women, and if you look at the credentials, there was really some other women on there. There was one particular woman that was from Georgia. And I think the reason they didn't appoint her because her husband was black. I honestly and truthfully believe that. They were a black couple. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I really believe. And instead they picked Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, she's a snooty one. She says some, you know, it's a way of saying articulated garble. I always believe that. That's what a lot of these ladies do nowadays. They traject articulated garble. You know what I mean? I see it on Fresh and Fit. I see it on many other different channels. It's like, why did you just say that? You know what I mean? And it's very different from a woman of, you know, don't compare the women of today with your aunts, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, things like that. Just don't do it. Half of these girls, they can't even cook. I got two sisters, both of them know how to cook to this day. Half of these girls, they can't cook. They can't do anything outside of order you a pizza. Now, that's not the diss, that's just the truth. Most, not all, but most. Now, maybe if you're down in, you know, Nebraska somewhere, get your fresh plate, shepherd's pie or something. The reason I'm bringing all this stuff up about the women and their involvement into this Joe Biden legacy is because Joe Biden, for some reason or another, picked specifically women to elevate. He didn't pick any of the men. He picked women to elevate. And specifically, in my opinion, the demographic of women that supported him wholeheartedly, which were black women. And I'm not black, so I'm part of the diaspora. You know, nobody's gonna look at me and see anything first but this. And then they hear me speak another language or two, and then it's, oh, okay, I understand. You know what I mean? But the point I'm getting at here is, this is the guy that you elected and you put into office, and he has done nothing as a whole for the people. He's doing things individually for women. Black women in specific. He's not even doing anything for white women. That's the funny thing. Now, I just really wanted to quickly talk about this because I want to bring this full circle. I have a video that I'm going to post up for you guys, and it's about President Zelensky. And it was something I didn't like about the video. Now, I think I was one of the first ones that reported to you guys about Azov, which was a battalion of what many people would call skinheads. They were loyalists to the party. They helped out Ukraine back in 2014, I believe it was. Ukraine is a small country. I even think Rhode Island might be big. I'll put my gloves on, guys, so give me a second. It's kind of chilly out here. I saw a video of President Zelensky because originally he was a comedian, which is a very odd transition, but he was a comedian, a very well-known comedian in his country. And the president had a routine in which he's making fun of Jews, he's making fun of Muslims, he's making fun of a couple of people in his routine, and the whole crowd is laughing. They're involved with it. You know, they're not interjecting, saying, oh, that's wrong or whatever. This was back 2014 as well. Now, when I uncovered this video, I started saying to myself, there's a lot of people around the world. Give me 1 second, guys. What's going on? Kira knows 144. Up here at Trump Tower, preaching the gospel for the good Lord. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, $2 STRINGERBELL80. I try to bring y'all premium content. I told you they stay inside. I come outside. This president, ironically, y'all didn't pay attention because y'all were too busy talking about the rappers, what Young Thug is going through, who's snitching, who, you know what I mean? Why did Master P do Lil Romeo so bad? You know what I mean? One of the biggest things you missed last week, I think the week before, was this president. He came to the United States and he asked, well, purportedly asked, if you ask me, this was something in transition, this was for the cameras. Listen, I come from the music industry. I know what it is to do something for the camera. We used to throw parties for the camera. You know what I mean? It wasn't even a distraction. It's actually, if you're in tune, it was actually telling you exactly what was going on. That's a counter. Listen what I'm saying here. Kira, listen what I'm saying here. They did the press conference and it was in multiple media sites. You understand what I'm saying? Not only that, but you know, Ellis's vlog, because we had the tradition of clipping things that many others don't see or do see or don't see. Or if you were then in the music industry or been around politicians and things like that, you see it. He came and he appealed to Congress. They did a whole spiel with it. Multiple media outlets covered it. I'm not making this up. On that Friday, which is this past Friday, Congress did a $1.7 billion bill or something like that, or whatever. Most of the money, some of it went to Social Security, I believe. Some of it went to, Jesus Christ, it went to one other program or whatever for something or another. I think it was for housing or something like that. And then the bulk of the money went to military spending. And I said, oh, hold up. Military spending? Who are we invading? That we need that much money? And then it dawned on me. I said, oh, this guy was here this week, shaking hands, taking the flag and giving it to Nancy Pelosi. I'm trying to tell you, that's Cruella DeVille right there. She was the one that held up the stimulus when we had this thing going on with the pandemic. I was right up here at Trump Tower delivering on it. The good word of the Lord. You know what I mean? That's a mean honorary chick. You got to be a mean honorary motherfucker to intentionally invest money during a pandemic, make money off the pandemic, and then sit back and hold up a stimulus check for people that needed it. People that now got the businesses closed. I can't tell you how many businesses, when I went back to Connecticut, I can't tell you how many businesses that were used to be there that closed specifically when that pandemic started happening. Specifically. A lot of people were closed for like 2 years. I'm talking about small places. My local bar was closed. Shout out to the Galley. There was a couple places that were just closed down because they couldn't withstand the pandemic. And it was unfortunate because these were good spots. These were a spot that's been there for like 20 years in Connecticut, if not more, you know? It was always sad to see those small places like that close because in Connecticut, you grew up around that, you know what I mean? So it's always a tragedy to see them places closed. You got memories in there, and you can't even recollect those memories when you walk in there because it's closed. And eventually everything's going to close, you know, everything comes to an end. But not in the specific trajectory caused being a pandemic. You know, that is unfortunate. That man was basically the ad piece for what they were about to do, and they had the intentions of doing on Friday, was passing those billions of dollars, and most of that money going to military spending. So I said, who are we invading? Why do we need this money? The military is full equipped. Listen, we got 3 military bases out in Groton, Connecticut. We got the U.S. Navy, which is the biggest one. Obama, all the presidents have been there. We've got the U.S. Coast Guard, and we've got the Army. All right? And the Coast Guard that we have, they're actually on the water. We're surrounded by water. We're part of the Thames. So, but I don't live in that part of Connecticut anymore. I live closer, but still, we've always been water. Like where I used to live at, it used to be called, hold on one second. It used to be called the Whaling City. You know what I mean? Shout out to New London. But listen, unfortunately enough, I gotta say this, and I'm gonna end this right here. I don't think Whoopi should apologize for one. Whoopi, shout out to you. I sat there and listened to a rabbi reiterate the same words you said. Then I listened to another rabbi reiterate the same words that you said. So I don't think Whoopi Goldberg should apologize for shit. Especially at the hands of Michael Rappaport. Now I want to segue into Michael Rappaport because he needs to be discussed. He needs to be discussed. Michael Rappaport, let me tell you, because I'm just old enough to remember. I'm in my young 40s here, but I'm just old enough to remember. I think Michael Rappaport's probably like 50-something now, right? And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, he's out of Brooklyn, Italian kid. I thought he was Italian for the longest, but he's actually Jewish by his own admission. So Michael Rappaport started out basically acting in a lot of hip-hop roles in different types of movies. And those movies were produced by blacks. He was casted by blacks. And he was literally lifted up at the time by blacks. They propelled him into his career. Has been to such with same with J-Lo, has been to such with Rosie Perez, has been to such with many other people. Miley Cyrus, you need to thank a lot of rappers for your current career and the stratosphere you reached. She went from trampy with us and then went back to be, I was like, yo, you're a Disney star again? Okay, Miley, I got you. So there's a famous quote from Jay-Z, twerk, Miley, 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 twerk. It's fucking hilarious. Give me a second, guys, I'm gonna fix the camera. Give me 1 second, guys. I accidentally touched the camera the wrong way. There we go. So this is the thing, man. And I know this sounds non-coherent or whatever, but just listen to what I'm saying here. I remember when Michael Rappaport did these movies and people chastised Michael Rappaport on a big proportion. They went at him. It was like, who the hell does this guy think he is? And blah, 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 blah. A lot of people were upset with Michael Rappaport because of the type of, like, if I could say realistically, type of stereotypes he was projecting. You know what I mean? I didn't like it. There was 1 or 2 roles that Michael Rappaport had that I actually thought was okay, but the full extent of where he was going, it just bothered me. You know what I mean? It bothered a lot of people at the time. With that being said, Michael Rappaport has a tendency to do something consistently that I have a problem with, which is every time that something like Whoopi Goldberg, every time something like Kanye, every time something, before that it was John Boyega from Star Wars, he always has something to say. And he's always the loudest one to have something to say. I'm sorry, guys. I keep touching the screen because it's cold out here, so it's reacting I gotta turn on the sensitivity or something. He's always putting out these reaction videos when something like that happens. And at first I said, well, maybe the guy really cares. You don't care that much. You do these things just like we do in the music business. You do them with timing. And you pick your times very well. It's always attached to some type of advocacy saying, you better not say that about the Jews. But you're not a practicing Jew. Am I wrong? You're not a practicing Jew. You don't wear your yarmulke in your videos when you're protesting. Us. I didn't see you around for Hanukkah celebrating that. You didn't have any videos for that. You didn't have one video on your page about Hanukkah. But you was trying to check Whoopi Goldberg. You tried to check Kanye West. You tried to check John Boyega. You've tried to check a lot of people, Michael Rappaport. And to be quite honest with you, and I'm saying this for somebody for 17 years in the music industry, I looked at your Twitter, I looked at your other accounts, and you ain't got shit going on. I get way more freaking views than you do, dude. A lot of people do, to be quite honest with you. I think if somebody had 1,000 followers, they probably get more attention than your page does. And it's unfortunate. Michael Rappaport was propelled once again, and everybody knows this and knows his history. And I want you to look up his filmography. Look that up and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He's too disrespectful to serve now. Yeah, the guy, you can't use, like, okay, for you to say you appear every time that something happens with the Jewish community, and don't get me wrong, some things are the extreme, nah, you shouldn't be saying that. You know what I mean? But there's certain things, and somebody, listen, the first guy we worked for was Clive Davis. That's who Puff's distribution deal was with, Clive Davis. So it's through Arista Records. Arista was owned by BMG, the Burlesman Music Group, 1540 Broadway, right down near the street here where I'm at. So Clive, who was a practicing Jew, this is the pontification of what I'm explaining right now. Clive and his influence in Billboard, the Billboard luncheons, everything like that. Now this is the funny thing, right? And I want to word this right. Michael Rappaport, for some reason or another, he uses his culture, I'm going to say culture, because he's not a practicing Jew, so it's culture for him. He uses that in retaliation for another group of people when they speak up or say something against that. Now, I pointed out Clive Davis because I will say that. I went through 3 different distributors. Give me 1 second, guys. There's a bus right here. Give me a second. All right. We went through 3 different distributors, okay? 3 different distributors. Those meaning when you still have physical entities. So they would have CDs and things like that. There was a place called Virgin Megastore here, Tower Records, et cetera, They had listening stations. You could go in there and listen to the music, et cetera, right? So with that being said, they had the distribution deals for said purpose. Now, check this out. There's still distribution deals, even though they're hard to get. But with every last one of those record labels that was a distributor, there was a Jewish man at the helm. That's the truth. And I think what Kanye was trying to say, even though he was obnoxious, he was wrong how he said it, I will say that. I think you could have, if you were going to diss, there was a way that you could have articulated your words a little bit differently. But I get what you're saying, and that's the truth, it is. And I'm saying that as somebody that's, I've done the work. I've been all across the country with Bad Boy Entertainment. There's not too many places I haven't been, haven't stayed at. I stayed at the W, the Cleveland, you name it. You know what I mean? I didn't stay there. And a lot of times I end up knowing the staff there because we would go year after year. Memorial Day weekend, All-Star weekend, Super Bowl. We would readily go to the same trips every year. So you get to know the staff, you get to know the people at the hotels, you get to know the people in the area, et cetera, after being around for a while. So anybody that's in any point in the music business, give me a second, guys. Anybody at any point that's been in the music business will reiterate the same words, especially one man that's hovering around right now on YouTube as I'm here. What's going on, Leor? Shout out to Leor Cohen. He's always lurking. Trust that. Leor is always lurking. Shout out to Leor Cohen. There's entities, if you don't get what I'm saying, there's entities within the music business that have been there for a very long time. And every last one of them that I've seen with power, Tom Meshkowitz, a couple other people, all of them have been Jewish. Now, I'm not making that up. I'm not exaggerating. And I don't have any problem with it. I used to date an Israeli woman, Adi David from Afula, Israel. She lived with me, you know, like, but I got to make shit up for her. Anybody know me? I always lived in condos, shit like that. It ain't nothing new for me. Might be new for you. Not new for me. I've been doing this shit since I was 19 years old. Anybody want to argue with me, come on camera and let me know. I got pictures, video, everything else to prove it. Now, I ain't here to showboat with you. I'm just here to keep it a buck with you. Michael Rappaport, for some reason or another, feels that anytime there's a situation going on, he uses his culture, and that's equates to me to the same way you would say that a black person or a Latin person would defend or use their race, same way. It's the same thing. And I know you try to package it up, you try to articulate it cute, and if people are uneducated, they usually don't catch on to it. It's a subliminal kind of jab. If you're responsive to it, you can be, you know. Problem is, men kill each other, you know what I mean? So, I'll say this. Michael Rappaport, I need you to immediately and unmistakably stay the fuck out of black people's business. I really do. You've had 3 jabs now, buddy, and every last jab, you use your cultural group as an excuse for why you're saying what you're saying, why you're saying it. And I'm saying that's the same equation you would say to someone that was black to say, stop using that you're black to freaking defend or whatever. It's Michael Rappaport's doing the same exact thing, and he's trajected and he's on timing when he's doing this stuff. You never hear nothing about the guy till there's some tragedy in the media or whatever, quote unquote, take it how you want to take it, depending on what spear of the freaking, you know, way you get it or whatever. But it's like, God, we see what you're doing. You're pimping your culture. Your reactions are a pimp. You understand? Like, let me show you, let me tell you what I mean. Now, I mean this after 13,000 followers, and I started out with 125, and I did this in a year. All right? In a year. My story is different, I know, because I was in the music industry. I got people to pay attention to me. But Michael Rappaport, he has never been the type of actor that you sit around and you talk about. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he's never been the type of guy, like, and I said, and I'll say it again, and you can look at his filmography to prove this. Look at the movies he was originally in. Every last one of them was black directors. Every last one of them, they had him typecast as a certain type of person. He was the white guy of the hood guys and those types of movies, you know? But that's what he was. And he did like 4 or 5 movies like this or whatever, and then he's kind of faded into obscurity. You never saw him anymore. I'm up here at Trump Tower. I had to come up here. I'm back in my neighborhood. I got to say this. Michael Rappaport, I need you to immediately cease and desist. Like ASAP, bud. Like it's getting obnoxious now. He's went after Trump, too. And the funny thing was, he used the same tropes. He used the same language points and talking points as most of these other guys on YouTube. Blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this clear. There are pictures back in the 80s, the 90s. This is Trump Tower right here. Let me turn this around for y'all. This is Trump Tower right here, right? This building has been here since the 80s. If you're from the town, you know what I'm talking about, all right? This building has been here since the 80s. This is one of his first properties, okay? He used to stay in here at one time, and his wife's also, God rest his soul. Now, this is the thing. With that being said, right? And I didn't understand that, but I know they said something. Anyway, this is the thing. Michael Rappaport hasn't obtained anything like this. He doesn't have the trajectory to obtain anything like this. He doesn't have the trajectory to even build. What he does is he piggybacks off of other people's tragedies and news from. You're no different than a vlogger. You're not an actor anymore, Michael Rappaport. You're a vlogger. And I just want you to not mistake who you are now. What's the last movie that you saw Michael Rappaport in? I'll wait. Anybody in the chat, tell me the last movie Michael Rappaport was in. Anika said beautiful. Thank you, Anika. Tell me the last movie Michael Rappaport was in. I'll wait. Anybody. I guarantee the last movie he was in was probably 2013. So the only thing I'm saying is, Michael Rappaport, I'm more valid than you are here in 2022 going into 2023. The numbers show that. Your numbers don't show that. I looked at it. Listen, we worked in the marketing department at Bad Boy Entertainment for 17 years. You don't think I know about numbers? I can crunch numbers real quick. I can even, at the very least, I can give you a guesstimate of what realm we're in. You understand what I'm saying? That's for a budget. That's for what we used to call that? Per diems. Per diems are the worst thing to work out because everybody gets a different per diem. So this is the thing, right? Michael Rappaport has not acted in a movie since probably 2013. Now, I'm not busting on the guy or anything like that, but I was just saying, the guy's not relevant. There are other vloggers such as myself and a lot of others that are more valid than Michael Rappaport. He only uses the media to basically garner some attention to keep him alive. And I think he's a comedian. I don't know if he still tours or he still does gigs or whatever. Shout out to Caroline's. Is going to be closing here in New York City this month. Latter, I think somewhere around the 16th or something, they'll be closing their doors. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping they can negotiate something before then. I haven't got an update. I might go by there and see what I can find out for y'all. I went there last time to talk to them. Last person I saw up in there was Corey Holcomb back this past April. Shout out to Corey Holcomb, Chi-Town, 5150 Nation. So, Michael Rappaport, I got to ask you a question. As a vlogger and formerly an actor, because that's really what it is. As a vlogger and formerly an actor, the funny thing is, y'all got to excuse that or whatever. It's this thing. I don't know what this thing is, but I hate to say it. I'm just going to go off the notion real quick. I'm up here at Trump Tower, guys, right? So every black and Latin guy that's walked past me, they trying to figure out what I'm saying as if they going to check me on what I'm saying. No. See what I mean? Like the intention sometimes between the men. This is why the chicks are online right now making fun of Tory Lanez because of this very, I'll get into that later. Michael Rappaport, because this goes along with this. Michael Rappaport, please stop, buddy. Stop using social media to garner yourself some attention because your career or former career is stale. That's all we asking. That includes Trump. That includes Kanye. That includes the manner that Whoopi apologized, you unaccomplished acting motherfucker. We need you to go away, Michael Rappaport. You're pimping your culture the same way you say that blacks are pimping racism. You did the same thing. And then you sit up and you act like you don't know what's going on. Who, me? And nobody wants to call this lush out. He looks like a troll now. What is that thing on your chin? Oh, Jesus Christ. He's got this thing on his chin. I don't know what it is. It's horrible. Men, I need to talk to y'all for 5 seconds before I get up off of here. And I'm going to talk to you very direct. I'm going to talk to you very clear. And this is off the premise of the conversation or whatever, but you saw I put plus topics. Plus topics. So with my ingenuity, it could be any topic I want it to be, right? It's my freaking show. So this is the thing. I saw where, unfortunately, a lot of girls were online, and because of this Tory Lanez verdict, they were pointing in the direction of trying to do shaming tactics of men in general. And they had other men, who most of us would call betas, feminine, whatever title you choose to give them. These men, you've got to watch men like this because these men, see, a lot of them go along with it because they're chasing after chicks. So they give this illusion, you understand what I'm saying? This is real high school. They give this illusion that they support you. But in reality, they're only supporting you because they believe somewhere eventually along the line they'll be able to get with these women that are within these groups or whatever the case may be. It's real sicko predator type shit, to be quite honest with you. But some of these guys, they do that. And we called them out. You know, Pressure Fenton called them out. Numerous different vloggers, such as myself and many others, have called these guys out. So, that being said, these guys were on and joining the band when it came to condemning Tory Lanez, I guess. This is a woman that lied in court. under oath 5 times and has not been freaking prosecuted or even brought up on it. Her friend lied in court on Tory Lanez or whatever. I think it was more about getting Tory Lanez out the country because Tory Lanez is Canadian. They tried to do the same exact thing to Justin Bieber when he was living in Atlanta. I remember that. So, yeah, there was some neighbors, they were mad about his Lambo was too loud. When you got the Aventador, all the motors on the Lamborghini are loud. I say that. Motors on the Ferrari, they're loud too. But as soon as you turn on, as soon as you hit that push button on that Lambo, trust me, you're going to hear that. It don't matter how quiet the neighborhood is, how noisy the street is. If a Lambo was to pull up on here right now, you would know it, especially a Aventador. The engine in it is meant to do that. Trust me, I know by experience. So I'm just saying, these women that were on there and they were bashing Tory Lanez and they were saying everything about Tory Lanez, I think they forgot one fundamental thing within the whole equation. You're making fun of your own men. Now, most people don't even know that Tory Lanez is from Canada. That's for starters. So a lot of people don't even know his nationality, but he's Canadian. He's Canadian national. These women went on round 2 today. And now the bloggers are picking it up, you know? And now they're going within, they're talking about it. I saw I saw the Angry Man talking about it. I saw a few other bloggers talking about it. I don't do construction, son. Sorry about that. The things that run through people's heads sometimes, huh? People will assume they're rich, assume they're in this position. I don't do construction, son. Never have. But anyway, long story short. The way that these women bashed Tory Lanez and this, as much as they could, this disrespected the genre and order and the gender of men. It was real misandrous. The misandry ran deep. Like I can't. There was women I saw that put up posts that said, "I like all women, but I don't like all men." You don't know all women are like all women. That's the most idiotic comment I've ever heard in my freaking life. You love all, so you unconditionally, initially, and no matter what, because of based on gender, love all women. That's what you're telling me. Okay, I got you. That makes perfect sense. What the hell's my head, right? So I'm listening to these conversations that are going on. There's people replying. There's people saying whatever they're saying. And I'm looking at these conversations. And on the first day, I said, okay, this is just their reaction. I just popped in what Whoopi did. Your girl West. Whoopi Goldberg reiterated some comments that she had said back in February on The View. She was suspended from The View. And she reiterated the comments in some publication called The Times just recently over the past weekend. Well, it was released the past weekend, but it might have been recorded months ago. And so they ran a quote. There's only a transcript of what she said. That's the thing that's got, because you can manipulate transcripts like crazy, you know, add a word, subtract a word, and you make something seem like it wasn't how it is. But the word that's going out from the transcript, at least, is that she reiterated the same words that she had said back in February, which was that the Jewish population was not a race, it was a culture. And she was, I guess, put in conjunction with a topic that was on the show that day that maybe Joan Berhart might have brought up or something like that. I don't know. But it came back to haunt her, and now they're talking about canceling her and that whole, thing. Let's cancel it. Listen, there's a lot of other people out here you should be canceling besides the people you're trying to cancel. I'm dead serious. There are neo-Nazis. There are people that are willing to shoot up wherever. There are people out there that are pedophiles and all kinds of shit online. And I never see you guys go out to full throttle. Like, that's what you need to do in the future. Find somebody that's like a pedophile or a child trafficker, something like that, or whatever, and go in on them. Let's just bring them to the full light and expose them for who they are. That's what y'all need to do in 2023. Seriously, I want to see more of that from blog, to start being a little bit more responsible on the stuff that we're saying. Meaning, like, for every 2 or 3 gossip shows you do, or gossip uploads you put up, or gossip shorts you put up, make sure you do 2 at least that are about the folks and not about a cash app or whatever the case may be. People get on here and talk about me taking cash apps all the time, but what about you and what you're taking it for? You don't even get up here and tell these people anything. You just, hey, guess what happened with Young Thug? The same thing we heard on the news 30 minutes ago. And that's an upload for you, you know? Can't do that all the time. Not in 2023. YouTube stopping that anyway. Y'all gonna find out. YouTube is about to change a lot. I keep telling you guys, you better stay informed. But anyway, outside of that, I just want to continue with this. For some reason or another, people of color, specifically men of color, are being attacked. And hold up, for y'all get it confused. I'm talking about specifically, give me one second. I'm talking about specifically when it comes to media, which I know very, 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 very well. I worked in the marketing department at Bad Boy Entertainment for almost 17 years. I know marketing, I know how media works. I've taken y'all to what we launched, well, I say we because I was part of the company at the time, where we launched Revolt TV up at the time, Warner Building. So, you know, nothing's fake here. You know what I mean? I've been in front of the office, tons of pictures, I've put up video, whatever, my duration throughout the years with the company. So, when I see the men nowadays, and they're a lot more feminine, I don't care what nobody says, they're a lot more feminine in the tone of what I mean by that is this. These guys are actually piggybacking off the post that I saw in negative connotation about Tory Lanez, not just because he got locked up or whatever, not just because you thought he was guilty, innocent, whatever, but because of the simple fact he was a man of color. Please believe that. And the language that these girls were using, it was so vicious. It was just like, I was disgusted by it to the point where I was just like, all right, I can't read any more of these. I read through probably no less than 100 and something plus nasty tweets and replies. And it was from different sites, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. It was from all of them. And this was give me one second. This was an ongoing conversation. I had a girl come here today, and I'm gonna put it out there, whatever. She flagged my post earlier that I put up. Like, I caught her flagging my post, and what she did was she made the mistake of leaving a comment. She got bold, and I was able to decipher who it was. Went to a page, whatever the case may be, but it was all in contention of something I said about the Tory Lanez case. And I said, well, listen, this isn't even avocation at this point. This is a point of you trying to punk me. And you got, in any other world, punk men or soft men that are backing you up, saying it's okay to do. And most of these men, I hate to say it now, I don't mean it like this, most of these men, I noticed, they were really feminine, like part of the LBGT or had unicorns or something like, whatever representatory of that on their pages. And I was just like, okay, all right, cool. But why are you, if you're a man of color, chastising other men of color? And they were doing it all because they were fans. That's what I want to underline. I know a lot about fans. I got fans. In the music industry, I had fans. The artists we promoted, they had fans. I know about fans. We want to talk about fans. I know fans like nobody else does. But the part is, and what I mean by that, I was with Bad Boy Entertainment. Who had more fans than we had? Except for Rockefeller. Who had more fans than us? Okay, thank you. So, I look at these men that are putting these and piggybacking off these posts and saying, yeah, girl, you go, girl. Saucy Santana crowd, or what you want to call it. And I'm like, y'all all saying this because y'all fans. Y'all not saying it because of the disposition of the case. Y'all not talking about it because of the facts of the case, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're saying this because you're fans. Fans. And you let your fandom based on your decisions. Your love of an artist is that deep. listen, I get it. I done seen girls pass out on stage. They just touch the artist, like literally just touch the artist and pass out. I've seen it a million times over, especially if they're an R&B singer or something like that, right? I've seen it. It's not the point of being a fanatic. It's the point of being almost deranged and delusional at this point, where you get into the point of you're so much of a fanatic that you're not going to decipher what's the particular specifics are of the case. You're not going to judge it on that. You're going to judge it on the fact of how deep is your fandom. Is this like where people at now? So you rally with people, whether they're right or wrong, based on how much you admire them as an artist. And you let it judge and shape your decisions to the fact that you get online, ladies, and you bash every man of color you possibly can on the name of Megan Thee Stallion, a girl that twerks, puts a bad name, in my opinion, on many of women of color. My sister don't twerk. My sister a college graduate. You get what I'm saying? I can't support that. Other than the nasty way she conducts herself or carries herself, I can't support that. I'll never support that. I saw Lil' Kim do it. You understand what I'm saying? And what Lil' Kim did compared to what these girls are doing, Lil' Kim had that thing with her. She had gumption. She had, originality or whatever. These girls, like now, they just basically perform it and more the strip thing. I'll give you a perfect example. The girl Ice Spice, right? Good artist or whatever the case may be, but she will never have a hit as large as the one that she just blew up on. You know why? Because it's a recreation of the same thing you've seen previously. They've noticed that the crowd reacts to seeing her in one specific type of way, and if they don't do that, then it won't really work to the propensity that it should work. Meaning I've seen now several of her performances. I watch performances because that's all I've been around. I've been around the music industry, so I watch how you perform. How you perform live means everything beyond how the record sounds or how whatever. Trust me, I tell you this to be sincere. I've seen a lot of artists, you think they sound great in the studio. As soon as you put them up on the stage, they out of breath, they drunk, they fall off the stage, all kinds of crazy stuff. So with that, I looked at the possibility of this. All what these women are saying and being so vicious about what they are saying online, are they being this way because there's being some directive put out by other women? And what I'm finding a lot of times is just older women. These women are in their 40s or 50s, the elder thoughts and 304s of our communities, black, white, Latin alike, the older thoughts. Mama should have made it types, you know what I mean? And these older thoughts, they got OnlyFans links on every social media site you could think of for that $4.99 a month. Well, most of them never make any more than $150 a month. The average OnlyFans girl anyway, that's the demographics. I didn't put those out, OnlyFans did. When I look at all that, I sit back and I say to myself, you know what? There's something wrong here. These girls are being propelled and navigated by false ideas. False ideas that are intended, in my opinion, to keep the population down. What do I mean by that? Meaning this. You can get two genders of people to hate each other, not collaborate with each other on any type of measurement, not interact with each other. We're already declining socially on how we interact with one another, but this is another step. You can't turn around and, basically sterilize everybody like eugenics. You can't put stuff in their food, they tried that before. You can't put things in medicine, they tried that before. So what you got to do is, you now got to take a different route. And the route you got to take now is, you got to take, how you doing? You got to take a different route now. And that route that you got to take now is, you got to say to yourself, do I keep going through the matrix with all this crazy shit and keep it giving my support blindly to advocacies that are against me? And what I mean by that is a lot of people that are on both sides of the spectrum, male and female alike, that are sitting around, and what they're doing specifically is aiding in the gender war that's going on between men and women. Now everybody's affected by this. I've seen a whole bunch of men now of all different backgrounds online, or whatever, Fresh and Fit, Andy, Danica, the list goes on, of people opposing this type of ideology and this type of thinking nowadays. all types of folks. So this is something unilaterally that just men are going through as a whole. It's declining in dating, it's declining in marriages, it's declining in a lot of things. But more specifically, it's in the populace, trajectorily, it's going to deviate the population. So let's say, I think it was, and I haven't got the numbers this year, but I know last year birth rates were down, at least in the tri-state. I think it'll be a continuation of that, but what you're going to start seeing is, it's going to be, first it'll be, oh wow, that's Whitney Houston right there. First you'll see the numbers decline nationally. After they start declining nationally, what you'll start seeing after that, I think, and I'm really going to set on this, y'all mark me for this, you're going to start seeing it internationally, because the same things are going on in other different places. You look at China, they were over there fighting again because they didn't want to be locked down once again. If you look at Europe and many of places, Germany to be specific, France to be specific, a lot of these countries right now are fighting against the same thing. They want to do COVID lockdown, stuff like that. So with all those things set aside and you being in solace, many people for about 2 years during the pandemic, you build this narcissistic personality, yeah? And this narcissistic personality is from being in solitude, all right? I want you to understand this. And once you're in solitude, you start getting online, you find things to keep yourself away for the day or the night or whatever the case may be, so you put all of your key elements, and I was one of these people that did it too, so I can't front. You put all your gems into going online and becoming popular online. If y'all wonder where I'm at, I'm up here at Trump Tower. Shout out to Trump Tower. It's unfortunate because what happens is you get an adverse effect. Somewhere along the line, and I really think it's going to be, this is looking at it from a conservative point of view. Somewhere along the line, and I'm seeing more and more girls do this because I want to be optimistic about this, I think there's going to be some women that are going to clock in and they're going to say, you know what, ladies, you got to slow down. You're heading your way to mediocrity. And a couple of dollars that you're making, trust me, I worked for millionaires for 17 years up at Bad Boy Entertainment. I done promoted every type of artist you can think of. Listen, you don't know money until you see the Brinks truck pull up. The Brinks truck pulls up when you were at the club and you need 50,000, 100,000 real quick or whatever. You can go on the ATM and get that. The Brinks truck pulls up. So I've been witness for that for King of Diamonds, Dream, and a couple other spots across the country with these guys. I know what I'm talking about here. There's some women like Just Pearly Things, shout out to her, and I admire her a little bit more because Just Pearly Things, her dad actually was opulent, you understand? So she grew up around money or whatever, and a lot of these girls, which are really escaping the point of seeing, and a lot of reasons they're doing OnlyFans, and a lot of reasons they're talking about they want a man that makes a certain amount of money a year, or whatever the case may be, which I understand that too. I work for millionaires, so I know some women, they just have a taste for this working with those type of men. So, you know, it just is what it is. I will say this much though, social media has allowed it that basic chicks that never get chose. We used to have a system for that when girls came to the videos. We would pick the girls on site. You know, all the girls back then, Buffy, and many other different girls that were just the video girls. Miss Ford. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other chicks. You know, I can't think of everybody's name right now. Gloria Velez. There was a whole bunch of them. Cuba. List goes on. All these girls, they would show up at video sets and they get picked right there on site. Ask any different record label. Ask my man Big Face Gary. Shout out to Big Face Gary, Rockefeller Records. He's up here on YouTube. Y'all make sure y'all go check him out. And all these guys will tell you similarly the same story. Those girls had to get chosen. You understand? Now it's the guys, they're so thirsty. Good morning, beautiful. Good morning, queen. Don't you feel elated? Ladies, if you see some guy that does that on a regular basis and he's saying it like that and writing it like that in that language, block him. Automatically block him. It's not going to go anywhere good. Trust me, he's a predator. That's when the guy's got two sisters. Trust me, the guy's a predator. I do believe there are some guys out here that are predators. I done ran into a couple of them before, I know. So, you asked me why I'm going here and I'm saying all this stuff or whatever. I just popped in with a Whoopi do. Oh yeah, I answered that. If you want to see the population decrease even more, you go along with the program that's being put out here. which is the genders argue with each other more. They move more far away from each other. Some become more feminine, some become more masculine. And this draws down the population numbers because it also affects dating. It also affects marriage numbers and many other things. And then you get a group of individuals that may be first and second generation immigrants that come here and they don't have those values. At least for the first 1, 2, or 3 generations, they don't have those same values. They don't share those same values with you. So what happens is their population increases. I'm telling you guys this. You can take it as Americans, native-born Americans, first, second generation Americans. It really doesn't matter at this point. If you're here, you're one of us. If you practice our traditions. Meaning I'm kind of quasi about people that want to practice 2 traditions so much unless you live on this hemisphere. So if you continue with this little trajectory of this little plan, and I'm just telling you guys this about this population control, because what's happening now, we got more people than we got resources. Internationally, we got more people than we got resources. America doesn't produce anything anymore as far, I think the last thing we had was grain. I'm pretty sure of it. Now we produce soybean by the numbers. Soybean, which is bought by a Japanese company. There's no insult to the Japanese culture, but it's the truth. If you keep going along with this freaking program right here, the black and Latin population can't withstand it. They can't withstand it. And now, ladies, I just want to say to you this, and I'm going to get up off of here, because I know this is latter to what I was talking about, but I wanted to throw this in because I wanted to remember it, and I wanted it to be raw, I wanted it to be natural. Ladies, you got some decisions to make in the next coming up 3 years. A lot of you broads is getting old. Let's start there. A lot of you broads been on YouTube for a long time, way before I've been on YouTube for 2 years now. But a lot of you broads is getting old. A lot of you broads is preaching this toxicity, is that how you say it? A lot of you broads is preaching this toxic behavior, let me say it that way. A lot of y'all is getting big. A lot of y'all that had side babies, so your original premise that you had, or niche that you had on your channel rather, is no longer valid. A lot of you broads don't look the same way that you looked when you first got on YouTube, just preaching this toxic behavior. A lot of the girls that y'all get in the back of your behavior are being demolished by other female vloggers. So it serves as no purpose for you ladies to keep arguing, to keep supporting a man that may be, and completely may be innocent. Now you can say what you want to about Trump. I'm right up here at Trump Tower. I used to live in this neighborhood, as many of y'all know. But I'm up here at Trump Tower, and as you can see right here, I'm going to tell you why I'm pointing him out specifically right now. I'm pointing him out specifically right now because of this. He was the one that gave Kodak Black a pardon before he left. Kodak Black still acknowledges that to this day. He said in many of the different interviews. Now, one nigger with a Bible went up there to get Kodak Black. And I say it like that to be funny, but I really mean it. Now, one Papi Juan Pito went up there to get Kodak Black either. You understand? So let's keep it in perspective here. I don't see where you ladies are going. Well, you're going to need us sooner or later. Oh, you might be in trouble at the park. Might go to the bank, something happens. There's many different equations that can happen, but it's a long story short. Sometime along the way, you're going to need a man. Somewhere along the way. A lot of you women are having trouble with your rent nowadays. You need a man. I saw an article where a woman said that she lives in Miami. I couldn't believe this about Miami because I know Miami very well. She said that she works 2 jobs. One job is $18 an hour. The other job is $15 an hour. She still doesn't make enough money to pay her rent. It brings her up around about $4,000 a month. After you take out taxes, she's rather at about $3,600 a month. Under the guidelines and the stipulations for what you need from an apartment nowadays, you should get out 40. And this is happening across the country. A lot of these women are getting kicked out of their houses, their apartments. A lot of them have fallen victim to what happened during the pandemic when they weren't able to pay rent. I would say you need a second income. And you fall to yourself, a lot of you, and I respect it. You'll go on these programs and things like that or whatever. When you'll graduate from these programs, you'll graduate with them. You'll graduate away from these programs and you'll go to colleges, you'll go get certificates, you'll become nurses, RNs, and LPNs. I get that. But somewhere along the line, you're gonna need your men. Now, I think you ladies should be ashamed of yourself for going 2 days. It's very childish, it's very immature, and it shows the world that you have one set of rules of engagement for one culture or any other culture, and you have another set of rules of engagement for your own. Now, I can get on here tonight, I can call you all kinds of whatever, but that wouldn't be fair for all the sisters that are out there. There's a lot of sisters that came forward and said the words of, you can't talk about him like that. You don't know if he's guilty or whether he's innocent. You don't know anything about the case, and I have to agree with that. I have to wholeheartedly agree with that, more so matter of factly because of this pure simple fact. The girl lied under oath, and I don't know why she hasn't been, for some reason. I'm talking about Megan Thee Stallion here. I don't know, for some reason or another, nobody is wanting to acknowledge this within these groups that support Megan Thee Stallion. She lied in the courtroom. Amber Heard lied in the courtroom. And the same momentum went when Amber Heard and the verdict came out for that. They did the same thing, even though the verdicts were different. They did the same thing. When Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were in court, even after Johnny Depp had won the case, you saw a group of women that were online and they were still continuously bashing Johnny Depp. You will see women that will do the same thing with Tory Lanez, that will continually bash Tory Lanez until this has been rectified. Till the appeal has been put in, till the decision is overturned, and I think it will be. I think they're just holding Tory more so because he's Canadian. That's his biggest opposition. Like I said, I saw when they tried to do this with Justin Bieber. They tried to do the same thing with Justin Bieber down in Atlanta. They brought up a protest to get him deported to Canada over a Lambo. I can't make this up. That was like 13 or 14. He was younger then. So, same thing they're trying to do with Tory Lanez right now. Same thing they've done with Trump. Same thing they've done with Whoopi Goldberg. Same thing they've done with Kanye, which I have to say, Kanye, you were a little excessive, bro. I got what you were saying. I unlike others, I proved the point. Well, I've got rabbis now on camera talking about the same thing, reiterating, muttering the words of the same people that you're chastising and continually chastise. They did the same thing when they did this to Kanye. When you want to tear somebody apart in the modern day, you evidently just go online. You don't notice I don't use my outlet to do that. I get deeper to the notion of whatever we're talking about is about, and I jump on it and I handle it. And I will continue to do that on my channel. I don't do any chuck. I don't pick sides. And most importantly, I don't despise the women. I don't despise women. But I think a lot of men in this modern day are asking, why are these women so vicious, so obnoxious, so pandering to advocacies versus their own best interests? And more importantly, why the hell are you so damn mad? Nobody wants anybody around them that's mad all the time or angry all the time. I've met beautiful women from everywhere that I've had at my disposal, or whatever you want to say. And one thing I can say, and it sticks out more than anything, is if you got a crappy attitude, I don't care how pretty you are, it just kills everything. I could automatically, that quick, be unattracted to you if you put out or project a certain type of attitude that's not in coherence with mine, you know? What you say? Broads, LOL, not women, but broads. That was funny. I don't know what to call it, man. I know this, based off what I saw with this Tory Lanez momentum, it just made me a little bit like, So, and you know, in my opinion, you got to hear what a lot of women really felt. That's the same thing I said, the same thing I saw when Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp verdict happened. there were women that were still bashing Johnny Depp, but the court just found him not guilty. I'm seeing the same thing happen with Tory Lanez. You've got women now on day 2 going into day 3 with all these different posts on multiple social networks. It's not just, your favorite one or here on YouTube. YouTube, you don't see this much because they know they can get flagged, things like that. But on the other social media fights that involve this typing or whatever, I've seen it on 4 of them. And this is a long trend of just making fun of Tory Lanez. They're making up memes now. They're throwing up one with him and R. Kelly now. I see everything. I don't miss much. Guys, make sure you hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. It's your first time here. I smoke cigarettes on camera. I curse on camera. I'm a New England guy. That's what I do. New York City Tri-State stand up. I don't like what these women are doing, and particularly the demographic of us. I think it's appalling. I think it's unneeded. And I think you need to start looking at this certain point here. The same way you could use to bash Johnny Depp and Tory Lanez after women have lied. These same women that are responsible, even right here where I'm at, on Trump Tower, saying words about him. These are vicious women. These are not nice women. These are not your aunties. This is not your sister. These are not none of these women. These are women that are bent on narcissism, and the pandemic and the time we spent by ourselves aided to that. The population is going to decline because of this if we continue, and that's all I got to say. Guys, make sure you hit the like button after this. It's been my pleasure. Once again, we're over here at Trump Tower. I've been here a million times, so you guys already know the vibes. Shout out to everybody at Trump Tower. It's been allowing me for the past 3 years to come up here and film. I used to live in this neighborhood, so I think that's got a little bit to do with it. And as you can see, no problems with, I keep trying to tell y'all that, man. Like, it's all about the way you do it, and that's as simple as that. So, ladies, please, ease up a little bit. Be a little bit more nice to these situations and weigh them out. If you say you're intelligent, as many of y'all profess you do, weigh out the situations and see what's really going on here. You're being used. And you're being used to the point now where you get your own men out the way, and what happens is, who's going to protect you in there? Who's going to protect you? I think Brad's going to protect you to the full capacity that he would protect Karen or Sue. Are you out of your fucking mind? I grew up around Italians and Greeks. I know. Trust me, I know. It's not going to work out like that, especially if you're from a certain environment and you're not used to that. That's not an insult. It's just reality, You're not around these people. You didn't get around these people until you were an adult. So you don't understand the way they interact with each other. It's a whole different chord of even interaction, So it's like, it's a lot of subliminals put in there, a lot of jerking, a lot of, it's sing what does its thing. Guys, make sure y'all hit up the Cash App. Show me some holiday love. $STRINGERBELL80. That's Stringer Bell 80. Like I said, I move on the move. I want to say to Annette, thank you for your donation or whatever. I wanted to make sure I at least came into town, filmed a little bit for you. You know what I mean? Let you see around, show your money's going towards something or whatever. I'm going to head back, I think, home to Connecticut pretty soon here because it's kind of cold out here. But I at least wanted to spend an hour with you guys as vlogging or whatever, just talking to y'all about a lot of things that I see. Whoopi Goldberg, hold your head. Make sure if you see a post come up that says cancel Whoopi Goldberg, you say no, forget that. Davin Lewis got a video on his page. Share that video and show them of this Jewish rabbi saying exactly almost word for word with Whoopi Goldberg, or they're purportedly saying she said. Like I said, only saw a transcript. I haven't heard the audio. I haven't seen the video or anything else like that. And I think this is that type of, if that was this type of interview, then it should be something beyond a transcript of what she actually said. And that's what gets me kind of upset. So we'll figure it out. We'll find out along the way, I'm sure. The other thing I want to say is, don't cancel out, and a lot of y'all are not gonna like this, don't cancel out the words of many people that you're seeing that they're going against right now in media. Don't cancel out a lot of their words, because a lot of their words, what's gonna happen is, it may not be intermediate, but as we're seeing, as time progresses and time evolves, a lot of the things that you're accusing these people of saying are coming true to fold. And they'll be reiterated. I want to simplify that. I want to make that paramount in the conversation. They're being reiterated by the same very people that are complaining. Now, it might be different sects within this religious group, but they're reiterating the exact same words. There's no other way to translate it. There's no other way to look at it. It is what it is, you know? And so I want to point that out and make sure we're clear on that. Precisely clear on that. A lot of these words are being spoken by Israeli rabbis, Jewish rabbis, or whatever. I just told you this past weekend during Hanukkah, the last days of Hanukkah, the last day of Hanukkah was yesterday. There were actually Orthodox Jews that were burning the Israeli flag because they said the state of Israel is not the Jewish faith. So when I said earlier, and I was talking about Michael Rappaport, and I said he's not a practicing Jew, that's what I meant, because that's the same way the Yiddish community, that's the same way the Jewish community would say to him. Or they would decipher him and say he's an American Jew. I dated a woman that was Israeli. Her name was Adi David. She was born in Afula, Israel. She's half Turkish and half Israeli. She lived with me. She wrote my name in Hebrew. You know what I mean? So it was one of those points in my life that I remember very vividly. The things she taught me, the things she said, and I learned a lot from her. Like I said, I didn't even know there was Ethiopians that lived in Israel and they were being prosecuted by the police there and everything else, way more beyond the fashion that you guys think here in the United States. Even though I respect every last incident that's happened, this is some different stuff, you know? This is where crowds and piles of people are coming against them and trying to segregate them into an area or whatever. And these people are afraid they're gonna have to go back to Ethiopia. So instead of fighting, they just try to warm it off, you know? And it's unfortunate. I'll go into that a little bit more one day too, and do a live like that. But guys, make sure you support the channel. Make sure you hit that like button, $STRINGERBELL80 before I get up out of here. Once again, I'm at Trump Tower. Y'all know I always come up here to do my lives or whatever. That's my time, guys. I got to get on. But make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, $, let me turn this back around, $STRINGERBELL80. Again, that's $STRINGERBELL80. At the very least, send me a Cash App so I get a coffee. Oh, you guys want to see the Gucci store? That's the Gucci store right there. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will talk to you later. Shout out to God's Poetic Broads. Shout out to you guys, Poetic. Shout out to, I can't say that right, Serp Nas. Shout out to Kira, thank you for tuning in. Trying to see Paula Carter, thank you for tuning in. And everybody else or whatever. Guys, my hands are freezing. Like I said, once again, make sure you hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. That's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. If you do not have Cash App, there's also a PayPal link in the description box. There's also a GoFundMe link in the description box. And there's also an Amazon wish list, which I have a PlayStation 5 that I have reserved for at least the next 5 days anyway. So anybody feel like, you know what I'm saying, y'all make sure y'all support that. Other than that, guys, I am out of here. I will talk to y'all later. Make sure you be good to each other and make sure you be at least respectful, ladies, when you're online talking about this Tory Lanez thing. It's not that serious. I mean, you're not judge and jury. We're not out here with, you know, pitchforks or whatever the case may be. But if you do continue that type of behavior, just remember, your men are going to further separate from you. They're not going to come closer to you at all. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of them are not even worried about it, which is even more disturbing because they're looking at it as a nuisance. You know, when you got a lot of women celebrating a guy being locked up and the guy's part of your own culture, it's kind of like, it's asinine. You know what I mean? Especially when the woman literally, and not figuratively, literally lied in court 4 times, where you have another news agency, several news agencies report that she lied based off the transcript. So I don't know how you guys look at it or whatever. Guys, stay with me. I'm going to give y'all about 10 more minutes, all right? Because I might as well, because I'm going to have to charge my battery in a minute. I want to move off Trump Tower. I'm going to go get me a coffee because my hands are freezing right now. I don't know what, I had the bright idea to have the freaking listening gloves off when I was trying to talk to these guys. If you guys don't find some type of meaningful, conductive, I guess that's the best way to say it, conversation you can get into amongst each other's genders, it's going to fail. And I just want to keep pushing that out because I want you guys to be aware of it. Ladies, that type of avocation doesn't work. What it does is it drives you into a corner where you're all alone in the end. I'm trying to tell you this. You're all alone, and not only are you all alone in the end, but ultimately you have no one to protect you. And that's the most, I guess, disturbing part of it. Who's going to protect you if not me? You know what I mean? Now, you guys saw, for example, what I do. I kicked into action the other day. I don't know if you guys saw the video or not, where this lady was literally standing. Give me a second, I was catching my breath. This lady was literally standing and walking in the middle of the street. And then ultimately she sat down in the middle of the street or whatever. And I did my part as much as I could. But I wanted to make sure I recorded in case she got up, attacked me, whatever. I don't know what the hell people do nowadays. And I had somebody come in and they really chastised me about filming this woman. And I was like, well, what do you want me to do? Just walk right past her and get her? And what I saw was everybody else was doing just that. They were ignoring her. And I was like, are you serious? You literally, like, this is a human being. You're just sitting there and you're ignoring her. And that's exactly what people were doing. They not only were ignoring her, but they were just like, they wasn't concerned. And I'm like, this ain't the town I know. People in Stamford, where I live in Connecticut, they're not like that. They're not like that. And I didn't think that anyway. You guys want to see something cool here? Check this out. This is all the Christmas stuff, because it's going to be gone in another week or two. I'll let you guys see that. Some nice stuff here. Yeah, fuck you, Arab. You guys can see this right here. I'm sorry y'all had to hear that. A lot of these Arab dudes, they try to pretend like they fit in. You don't fit in with us, motherfucker. I remember when this whole city hated you guys, and he came and wanted black people to basically, I don't know how you say, defend them, and then like they'll walk past you and give you these dirty looks. I'm not African, buddy. All right, that's first thing first. I'm not African. In their countries, a lot of them, they hate Africans. Like, they don't like African Muslims, etc., etc., etc. Very weird people, because they're just as brown as you are. You know what I mean? And from the same continent. It's odd, but nevertheless, yes. If you guys will start doing this thing that I'm talking about right now, on your blog posts and everything else, what you're going to start seeing is your own demise. And I can swear to God to you, that's how it's going to happen. You're going to see year after year, more of the birth rate go down. People are going to start trying at first to freeze their eggs, wait till they get older or whatever the case may be. The kid comes out and he's a little slow now or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, you can only have one or two. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who wants that life? And I know you girls, a lot of you making money, but do you exclusively always have to hire other women? Like, that's another thing kind of disturbs me too. The ladies only hire other women when they get on. How come you're not hiring guys? Who's going to protect you? Like, you know, you're not thinking in the edge of protection. And that's a space that you should be in. And I hate to say it like this, but it's the dumbest thing you could possibly do to sit there and bash your own men online. Because other people are watching it. People in this whole Twitter space, black Twitter space and all that stuff, what they do, and I'm going to say any of the other imprints of Instagram, all that stuff or whatever, what they do is they spend a whole bunch of time just bashing their own. I saw it with Tory Lanez. I saw it with, who was the other person they were doing that with? Kanye. It was all this piggybacking to basically jump on edge and be popular. It had nothing to do with the advocacy itself. It had to do with getting people to pay attention. Look at my post, please like it. That's the mentality. You're talking to a guy that has, I have a video up that has like 1.3 million views. I have another video that has like 500,000. I don't need likes, you know what I'm saying? I don't need likes, I have the numbers. This year, my whole page, I think we did 2.7 million. I did 2.7 million this year. I don't need your likes. You know what I mean? The videos are up here on the page so you see them. Let me show y'all something dope real quick. Particularly for my ladies. That's the real Cartier store, all right? So when you're wearing something fake or whatever the case may be, can you guys see that? So I'm gonna try to zoom in a little bit. There we go. And that's the Cartier store right there. You guys want to check that out. I am up on Fifth Avenue. And this right here, this is, I think it's still a Nike place. Let me check. I'll tell you guys in a minute. Give me 2 seconds. Try not to get hit by a car. Yeah, this is still a Nike place. So this is a Nike place right here. Kind of dope. They put this place up probably like 4 years ago. Hold on, I'm moving over here so you guys can see a little bit better. But all this right here is the Nike store. Huge, isn't it? See, who loves you, huh? I take you guys all around the city. What's going on here? Y'all better show my Cash App some love. Let me see if we can look in here a little bit. Yeah, it's good enough. The mirrors, it's like some kind of glass, whatever. Y'all give me a second. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to throw out the cigarette. My hands are freezing right now. Let me show you guys. Let's see. Let me try from this end. This is one of the biggest cathedrals and oldest cathedrals in New York City. I'm gonna take you over here real quick. Let you guys see this. Miss Foster, if you see this, I hope you like this. I'm trying to fill my end here. But this is one of the largest cathedrals in New York City. Like literally. Are they open still? I'll give me a second. We'll find out. And you guys can see it goes all the way back there to the back. It's huge though. I'm gonna get up on it so you guys can actually see if I can get past the light here eventually. We're gonna find out. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. So, like I said, this is actually one of the largest cathedrals in New York City, like quite literally. And I'm gonna show you as soon as I get close up on this, guys, how actually big this is. It's huge, like. And this one, and then there's the other church that I know. Shout out to Reverend Seamus, 5th Avenue Presbyterian, but as you guys can see, this is huge. I hope I don't get flagged for that damn music. I ain't gonna be here too long because I'm gonna get flagged for the music. And that right there is Amani. Everybody in Miami wears Amani. I ain't never seen too many people in New York wear Amani. But this place is huge. Hold on, I'm gonna go up a little bit. I'm gonna show you guys just the door, and you'll see how massive this place is. I can't really show you from there, but look. This is how big this door is. Isn't that crazy? Watch this. Can y'all get a measurement of how big it is now? Isn't that beautiful? They put some lights up. I'm gonna turn this back around. Come on. There we go. And so you guys can see a little bit more clearer here. But this whole freaking neighborhood right here, I miss it. I used to live here. But back in CT, so we good. This church is beautiful though. Thought you guys would want to see that. This is one of like the more famous churches here on 5th Avenue. There's actually 2 more, but they're way out the block and I'm not doing that right now. My hands are freezing right now. And as a matter of fact, I know right where to cut to. All right, guys, I'm gonna take you give you one more shot of this up here. You guys can see. But that, I can't, I wish I had a bigger camera. I could show you guys like how big it actually is, but it's like huge, like literally huge. I'm gonna walk up a little bit more. Let me turn this around, and I'm gonna show you guys in like contractions of like how tall I am and how big this place is. Can you guys tell now? Look, this place is huge. I'm gonna take you guys to one place, and then I'm getting me a coffee, and it's a nice because it is getting extremely frigid out here for real. All right, so let's get across the street here. Like, all right, so I'm gonna tell you guys about one more other thing real quick, and then it is a wrap, all right? Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80.
Yes.
Yeah. This block, yeah. Trying to make sure I go down the right block because I got like one time. God, why does this freaking screen redo? I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. There we go. It keeps doing this thing with squinching the screen. Y'all noticed that? It did like 3 times. So this is a route I used to walk like literally every freaking morning when I was living here. They got it on no more. And I'm so glad I'm back out in Connecticut, I swear to God. So, hey, you guys want to see this? You don't mind if I get the van, do you? You don't mind if I get the van, do you? Thanks. You guys want to see this? This is the Life Safety Mobile Command Post for the police officers here in New York City. It's huge. Like, just give you guys kind of like a, that's how big it is. That thing's huge. Just so I get the back of it. This thing, yeah, this thing's huge right here. You don't see anything like this in Connecticut, that's for damn sure. Not this big. All right, let me keep going down the block because I need some coffee. So, what I'm taking you guys through right now, I'm walking down, and I'm gonna show y'all something real cool. Because I know a lot of y'all want to see this, so when you see Good Morning America, I mean, it's not Good Morning America, I forgot what the name of that one is. So, whatever one it is, in the morning, is it here? Yeah, so I can cut down. Yep, there we go. So I'm gonna get you guys over here and let you guys see the actual Christmas tree, all that or whatever, because I'm gonna be taking it down like probably another 2 weeks or so. Excuse me. So I'm gonna take you over here to the tree. Y'all want to see something real unique? I gotta come over here and take some more pictures of this too. So this is NBC. Show y'all something. Y'all see this right here? Doesn't look like the Devil's Advocate. It looks just like it, doesn't it? This is the NBC building. I used to pass this building like literally every freaking morning, but that is a mirror. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. I gotta make sure Miss Foster get her money worth. You heard? All right, now I'm gonna take you guys over here. Let you guys see the Christmas tree here at Rockefeller Plaza. Like I said, who loves you? I make sure everybody that follows me, they get their money's worth when they donate to me and all that stuff or whatever. So I like to take people out and move around. I'm not like the other vloggers that just sit in their freaking apartment and have the lights up and you know what I mean? I like to actually take people around. So I'm gonna let you guys see the Christmas tree here. This is Radio City Music Hall. And let's bring you down here, guys. Because I'm getting back to Connecticut in like another 20 minutes because it's freezing out here. Go ahead. So, let me take you guys over here to the Christmas tree. Here we go. All right, let me zoom in on this a little bit. Most of y'all gonna see this on the rebroadcast or whatever, but here is the Christmas tree. So now you guys are seeing it on NBC and everything else or whatever. The one we got in Connecticut is kind of cheesy. So we got downtown Stanford, that's about it. But hold on, I think these guys get ready to move. Yeah, the guys are a little bit close. There we go. See if we get it. There we go. I hate this Zoom on YouTube, it sucks. All right. I'm gonna walk you guys down here to the skating rink. All right, so let me walk you guys down here to the skating rink. Let you guys see that real quick. There's actually people down there skating. Oh, I got the best place right here. So let me zoom in. I want to see guys. In 2 seconds, guys. Let me see if I can get over there. All right, let's see if we can get over there. Because this is killing my hand trying to sit there and record that. There's a lot of people out here for some reason. It's kind of like still the holidays. So we still got tourists everywhere. I think we can get in some restaurants. Let's walk around, guys. Give me like 2 seconds, guys. I'm trying to get down there so I can see, but I don't think that's going to happen because there's so many people down there. Like, just to give you an example, that's how many people over there. It's like it's packed. So I don't think I'm going to get down there. Plus, I don't want to get sick because that is too many people down there. So y'all gonna see it from here. All right. I'm licensed. All right, guys, that is it. I'm done. I'm gonna give you some coffee. Let me turn this around here. I'm gonna give you some coffee, and I'm gonna get out of the cold, and I'm heading my ass back to Connecticut. I've had enough. So I did a nice little 2-hour stream for you guys. I know it was on the call. I'm gonna try one other thing before I go though, but I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. There's so many people out here. Let me see. Yeah. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. I got one more thing for you, all right? One more thing for you, and then literally I'm going. It's the only reason I'm doing it this time because I know I got to go this way. Yep, let's cut through here. All right. 2 seconds, y'all. What the fuck? Oh no, I just saw something a little crazy. I'm like, what the hell is that about? All right, yeah, it's closed door. I figured that. All right, but we're gonna still walk down this way down here, y'all. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm moving and shaking right now because that was somebody trying to get my attention. You know, the boys, they love me. Say that crazy. If you're trying to get another man's attention as a man, you might want to question your sexuality. Seriously. All right, so check this out, guys. It's the last one for the night. We are over here in NBC. So I want you guys to check that out or whatever. So I know a lot of you guys never seen this. This is all NBC. But I'm gonna just get close in so you guys can see a little bit better. This is the observation deck that they always talk about right here. This is not for me. I live here in the tri-state, so, but I want you guys to see it. You know what I mean? You maybe not have seen it before. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it right up, down the block here, and then we're done. Because it is cold as hell out here. And I need to warm my hands up. This is Radio City Music Hall, ladies and gentlemen. In case none of y'all have never seen it before, there it is. Now I'm gonna try to get a little bit closer to it, but I'm never gonna be able to get all this in. That's why I'm kind of like standing right there so you guys can kind of see it from that angle. So I knew if I didn't go down this end, I mean, I could go down the other block, but the thing is, they got a barricade up there. It's all because of the Christmas tree and all that stuff. So this is where it's going to get right here. But I can pan back and forth, make sure you guys see it. Radio City Music Hall. Because everybody always asks me on here, they be like, how can you walk around New York? How can you show us New York City? Okay, so I'm showing you New York City now. I done took you guys everywhere. Brooklyn Bridge, everywhere you can think of. So, you know, it's just, give me a minute here. Now, this is a little better right here. Like I said, this is Radio City Music Hall. You guys will want to see it. I just kind of panned this. I know the conspiracy is coming in a minute. What are those crests on top of there? He took us to a sacrilegious place. That's where they do the worship is. NBC. I can see that in the comments now. He took us where they devil worship and sacrifice for NBC. That's what those crests were. You know how people get on the treks talking about conspiracy theories and all that crap. No time for that. If you have conspiracy theory, please don't leave it on my damn page. I don't do this. That is just like the biggest headache ever. When people come to my page and in the comments, and they be like, yo, this is and all that, which is Radio City Music or whatever. Like I said, it's impossible to get all that into the camera because there's so much to it. I'm gonna try to move over. I can cross the street now. I'll show you guys one other thing, and then after that, we're out of here. All right, so let's cross the street real quick. Move over here. All All right, guys, so as you can see over here, lights on the Christmas tree. All this stuff is going to be going, trust me, that's what I mean here. You know what? I think I got an idea. Give me a second. I think I got an idea. Yes, I do. Make sure no bikes are coming. It ain't the cars you got to worry about. It's just damn bikes. I got to think about a 35. If you over 35 and you riding a bike, why don't you get your book bag to your fucking 5th grader? I'm terrible, ain't I? Usually I have these fountains on, but the fountains are off, respectively, because it's cold. And usually I have the fountains off. So I'm gonna cross the street here. And if you guys ever wanted to see where they filmed the Tonight Show, here come the conspiracy theories. What's that painting in the background? That's the Temple of Horrors right there. They try to solidify that if you join him, you're going to heaven. Yeah, I'll be coming up with some crazy conspiracy theories. I'll be like, yo, for real, are you serious? You know? I done had like 6 or 7 different conspiracy theories left on my channel. So it's like, it's funny as hell. I'm like, where do you come up with this shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, where do you come up with this shit? And I still ain't got an answer yet. You know what I mean? They just like, whatever's contrived in their head, that's what they roll with. And they write it down on my page and say, well, tell us about the Baphomet and all this crap. I'm just like, you know what? Get the hell. I usually block people like that. That's what I usually do. I just block them. Because if you try to engage and argue with people like that have conspiracy theories or something like that locked into their psyche, what you're gonna find is you're never gonna win the argument. That's for starters. You're never gonna win the argument. The second thing is, if you do win the argument, they're never gonna acknowledge it. So either way, you lose. You know what I'm saying? And you look like a fool arguing with these goofies, and you can tell they're not educated. They're putting on a front. They're just, you know, it's like it's corny. So that's why I don't do that. Before, I would make a whole damn video of you. I done went with everybody. What was that girl's name called? Toxic Diamond, all of them. I just told these 2 girls, go ahead. The chick looked at me like I did something to her. Fucking crazy. Anyway, shout out to the sisters. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'm trying my best to get me a coffee right now, and it's freezing out. But that's all on mission right now. Get me a coffee. I mean, a nice large coffee, no milk or whatever the case may be. You know, that's what I'm really looking for. All right, let's get over here. There's a lot of people out today for this to be Tuesday, so moving and shaking. Y'all stay with me. I'm gonna find here. I think it's some McDonald's down here, I'm pretty sure of it. Let me show y'all one other thing too that's interesting. Floyd Mayweather. All right, let me show y'all something, right? This, if y'all talking about diamonds and all that, whatever, y'all gotta come over here. If you ain't been over here, you don't have any diamonds. Everything that you have is yes. Let me take y'all around the corner here. This is what Floyd Mayweather, Jules, Cameron, Jimmy, all of them. This is where they get their schnaz at. If you ain't got something over here, you're not getting money. You understand? Anybody knows what I'm talking about. If you ain't bought something over here, you're not getting money. I don't even want to talk about it with you. So as you can see, this is all the diamond district right here. So you get your diamonds, all that, whatever. Loch Hyam, you know what I mean? So, hold on, let me take you across the street real quick. Now the crazy shit is, a couple weeks ago, and I know the store too is right up here on the right. That's why I'm walking up here. They closed. They got robbed. So that video that y'all see is at this spot right here. Ain't that crazy? But this is what they call the diamond district right here. So like I said, Jimmy, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys. I ran into Floyd over here before getting his shit. He gets it right here. I'm gonna show you right 2 seconds. Floyd gets all his jewelry over here. Right here at this spot right here. I'm gonna show y'all real quick. I ain't gonna give y'all the address or nothing, but I'm just gonna show you guys. Now, when I ran into Floyd, him, the money team, I'm gonna give y'all a quick reenactment. The money team pulled up right here. See where this black car is? The money team pulled up right here with the TYT joint. And they went, I'm gonna try to get over here so you guys can see it. They went to this spot right here. And this spot right here is where Floyd gets all his custom stuff made at. Jim Jones, same thing with him, all his custom stuff. This spot right here. They're real famous for getting that cut on your diamond like you like. And not only that, everything, you're not getting any moissanite, you're not getting any of that fake cubic zirconia bull. These are authentic pieces that are set up to be bought and fixated however you want them. So if you're going to get some diamonds or whatever, you got to come over this way right here. I'm not just saying that to put business in New York City, but just in general. This is the diamond district. I'm going to go hop on the train, guys, get skating and catering back to Connecticut because it's freezing out here. My fingers are froze, etc., etc., etc. Once again, guys, make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. Again, that's Stringer Bell 80 on Cash App. Also, if you don't have Cash App, there's a PayPal link in the description box. There's also a GoFundMe link in the description box, and there's also an Amazon wish list in the description box. Feel free to hit in all any of those up for your alternative. If you don't have Cash App, I know a lot of people don't. If you don't have Cash App, you should get it. And make sure you hit that up, man. Treat me to a coffee or something like that. I've been rocking out here for 2 hours. At least do that. You know what I mean? And I'll talk to y'all later. Hit that like button if you haven't. Good night, y'all.